Dean Gornitis Unleash This Book Reviews, bringing you new book reviews on Saturdays, sometimes on Sundays, sometimes on Wednesdays, when I've been too busy to give you guys book reviews, even though you deserve it, and you should be number one on my list of things to do. I put you off to the side, and I disrespect you and your needs, and I don't give you things until it's way past due. But I still will always deliver, I promise. David Foster Wallace is the Broom of the System. You guys know I'm a huge David Foster Wallace fan. Ever since I read Infinite Jest, it's one of my favorite books. He's one of my favorite authors, whatever. So you probably know going into this that I'm going to say that The Broom of the System is awesome. And it is. And I love it. Let me tell you a little bit about it, though, so that you can grip and grasp and grab if you think it would work for you too. Okay, so rather than Infinite Jest, which is over 1,000 pages long, this book is only about 500 pages long. So that right away lends itself to being a good intro version of DFW if you've never read his stuff before. It was published in 1988 as part of a college thesis that David Foster Wallace was working on. It was his first real novel, and, excuse me, I just drank a carbonated beverage. And he, oh God, where was I? Okay, so he wrote this, and it's his first novel. And so it's not really as intricate or as detailed, I suppose, as his stuff that he'd work out on in the future. But that doesn't mean that it's not almost just as good, if not just as good. So you don't have footnotes, you don't have endnotes, which Infinite Jest is wildly famous for. You don't get lost in the details and start losing place of where you are in the story like you do in some of his longer works. Instead, it's more of a condensed, streamlined version, which follows the main character, Lenore Beedsman, who is looking for her grandmother, who's also named Lenore Beedsman, who escaped from her elderly home with like 26 of her friends or something like that, some wild number, and they're thinking she's the ringleader, and they all ran away and they don't know where she went. And meanwhile, Lenore's pet bird is going crazy, streaming off these sentences, sometimes about sex, sometimes about God, and Lenore's pretty sure that somebody fed her bird LSD, and she's pretty sure it has something to do with her grandma and her escaping. All these other wild things go on, and Lenore just desperately tries to tie them all together, and what we get is this really thought-provoking, deep, for lack of a better word, feel for the lack of strength words really have, I guess you could say. Lenore gets clues from her grandmother on where she could possibly be, but because of the way words work in the English language, she can't really figure it out. Then you have the bird talking and using words, and birds don't usually use words. And then you have her boyfriend, who is an editor of a literary magazine that's not making any money at all, and the way that he uses language and the type of language that he uses or looks for in the stuff that he wants to get published. Blah, 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 blah. That's really what it comes down to. A look into the pitfalls of trying to use language to convey what we want to say, which I think is really, really cool to think about, because what did David Foster Wallace do the rest of his life after he makes this point but go on to write more and more intricate, detailed stuff, trying to explain things with words by using more and more words? It makes you wonder if he could heed his own advice, or if he changed his mind, or if my reading of Broom of the System just isn't deep enough. But that's what I got from it, and I think that's some things you might want to look for in it if you decide to read it too. So, I really liked it, and I think you knew that was gonna happen. So, next week, Ernest Hemingway's To Have and Have Not, my third Ernest Hemingway review, because I think he's a great author too. Sorry that I always review people that I think are great, but it's more fun for me. It sucks bashing on people. Try to stay away from it. Whatever, I'll see you guys Saturday or Sunday or Wednesday.